Hey Brick Maniacs, Dylan and Landon here. We're hanging out at the GHQ next to the Vietnam War diorama, and that is because we are launching a MOC Builders sale. So that's 10% off with code BUILDIT on minifig gear, brick arms, MOC accessories, and sticker packs. So all of those categories you can apply a 10% discount to by punching that BUILDIT code in at checkout. That'll run through the end of the month, starting today, and that's because we have a Vietnam MOC contest going on.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had this diorama here for quite a while. This is kind of like one of our legacy builds, I guess, that Dan put together. But I think it shows like a wonderful kind of a snapshot of the era here. Dylan, what do you want to go over?
Yeah, we wanted to just kind of dive into this because, well, like Landon was saying, it is an older build with some older models, but you know, the techniques of that kind of stuff really stay the same. And so we wanted to go over some of it. Like we were saying, brick arms are on sale, and so are those sticker packs, and you can see just kind of worked in through here. I mean, that's a lot of what this MOC consists of, is different uniforms, different brick arms, helmets, accessories, etc., and then just kind of like putting them together to bring that variety to the MOC.
I love the helicopter landing scene.
Yeah, so that's a good way to like add some motion, you know?
You can see all the different foliage kind of being pushed away in sort of, like it's flattened out right underneath of the helicopter. And you got all the guys rushing away from it. And those are just some old school, those are just some M16 brick arms right there.
Yep.
So with an interesting use of those transparent cones.
Yeah.
I think, those were lit up at one point too. I'm not sure if they still do that, but you know, there's different lighting options that we've used in our dioramas, so that would be a good place to kind of have that gun flash go off. And
you can see some of that in the photography that people do as well. You know what I mean? If you're a good photographer, sometimes you can kind of capture those colors. They're supposed to look a little bit different. So I think you know, there's some interesting dynamics to look at here. So first of all, you want to flip it on.
Yeah, obviously, this is the cool part.
Yeah, obviously it takes it to the next level when you've got motion and you can motorize things. You know, that's definitely something that is really initially eye-catching. Definitely plays well with this landing scene, etc. here, and then just kind of, you know, creates that movement. But at the same time, that's not necessarily of everyone's level. And so there are certain things that everyone can do, and I think that's kind of has to do with the Easter egg man himself. I mean, you love putting them all over your figures. People love putting them in MOCs too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
There's a cool Easter egg, the little tunnels down there. We've got the rats going on. That's kind of where I first saw Dan sneaking in rats wherever he could into his build.
Right, yeah.
I started sneaking rats into some photographs back when I was taking some photos, and it's just fun incorporating different things into your diorama or your MOC.
I think that, you know, one of the things with MOC building is people always try to go for scale because they see the size of all this and they want to look like they put in a lot of time, which is all well and good. But if you look here, there's really no space on this MOC that doesn't have something kind of going on. There's plenty for you to look at when you see it from a distance, and then when you get up close and you start looking at things, even like that building over by Landon over there, every single window has something going on in it. You know what I mean? All the streets are full of people. There's this whole convoy rolling through town. All these buildings, they got this, you know, little interior action here that actually leads down to this lower tunnel area. You've got a guy fishing, you've got the yellow submarine. You put a river in there, obviously you need a couple of boats in that river, etc. So there's no dead space on the MOC. And I think that's something that's like super important when you're building, is because, you know, you put a whole bunch of base plates together and you get some terrain going, and then you kind of quickly realize, like, I don't have enough to really like fill this space, you know?
Well, that brings up a good point. You'll also notice that this is a modular build here, so there's kind of different sections. So maybe start small, start with one section. Like you could start with like a helicopter landing, or you could start with this little village here with a helicopter coming in, and slowly as your collection grows, as your Lego library grows, you can keep adding on sort of in this modular fashion. Like there's like several distinct like sub-models, sub-MOCs on this. There's the city, you get the village, back there's a tree line with a road. So just break it down into different parts and just kind of tackle one at a time, you know?
Well, obviously, you know, we supply these products. We love seeing our vehicles. We love seeing our minifigs, all that kind of stuff. None of that, however, is required. And so a lot of it just goes to the creativity of what you have, what you can use. Can you pick up that Saigon taxi over there?
Yeah, what's way back here?
I think, yeah. So, you know, something like this, those are good builds to just have that don't require necessarily a whole bunch of complicated pieces or you know, hard to find pieces, etc. And they add a lot of personality to your MOC when you go the extra mile to like include that kind of stuff. And so those are some of the things we look for when we grade these MOCs or, you know, judge them, whatever. It's just kind of the extra effort that was put in that isn't necessarily like here's the Brickmania Sherman with some minifigs
Right.
around it, which is, you know, nothing wrong with that. We love seeing it, but at the same time, people who put that extra mile in, that's kind of what gets you noticed.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is kind of an interesting note. We had our recent kit, the Saigon Taxi. This is kind of the original prototype model, if you will.
Sure. Precursor.
Yeah, this is a very old actually model, quite a few years by now. But it's kind of cool just to see, you know, it get renewed into like a new Brickmania kit. So
Yeah, right.
just little things like that, sort of hidden into the diorama. Yeah, what else, man?
Yeah, I mean, you know, and the other thing that I think I noticed is that we've got, you know, it's a jungle, but you're still looking at a really wide variety of terrain here. I mean, not everyone's going to be able to work in the river. We totally understand that, especially if people don't have a boat, et cetera, to put on there. But look at the way we've got, you know, this field that this team is landing in. You've got a dirt road, you've got trees, you've got rice paddies, you've got sheds, you've got this, like, you know, bank, basically leading down. And then you have a city, which is all brick, which has got, you know, some precursor to the Ninjago series sitting on it. You know what I mean? Like
right.
there's a whole bunch of different kind of terrain work together. And once again, like Landon was saying with the whole modular build system, that is exactly how you experience that. You build one terrain one way, another terrain the other, then figure out a way to bring them together. And before you even added any vehicles or minifigs, you've already got some interesting stuff to look at just because how you've played with the terrain.
Absolutely. Yeah, the terrain on this MOC is a lot of fun to just pick out different elements. I love those rice paddies. I think they're so simple, but I think they captured that look of it really well. Yeah, it's a cool, it's just a cool setup here, man. Yeah, the Convoy in the background, that's a great use of, let's say you do have quite a few kits. You know, a Convoy is a perfect way to show off the variety in that. And it looks like they're kind of in motion, like something's about to happen. You know, I don't know, in the past we've set this diorama up a few different ways, but sometimes we've had like people kind of in the background trees, maybe spying or setting up an ambush or something. So there's a lot of different, like you can change your diorama over time, you know. It's very flexible. So
I think another thing too is, you know, it's hard to tell here video-wise, but you know, when you're doing the photography for your MOC, because obviously that's how you submit it, is you submit it by taking a photo. We mess around a lot with perspective. That's one of the big things with the Perfect Caliber lineup, which those are included in the sale, by the way, is that you kind of have that, you know, one of Landon's figures, kind of premium look, you get that really nice Perfect Caliber in there. That's kind of your foreground image. That's the thing you want up close and center, but that doesn't mean that they can't have a unit of people behind them that are all sticker packs. You know, like that's totally a way to be able to add more numbers to your MOC without having to be like, holy smokes, you know, Brickmania minifigs are $20 at the cheapest maybe. Like, I can't afford to have 30 figures all over my MOC. Well, you don't need to. You can use your own. You can combine a sticker pack. Each one of those has like a dozen uniforms, something like that, 9 or whatever. I mean, there's plenty going on there. I think we even have like jungle boots, etc. So all the stuff you would need to be able to kind of create your own figures. And then when you want to move on to the next Brickmania MOC contest, you don't have to like remove actual figures.
Right.
You just strip those stickers off, and you can go build another World War II diorama, etc. So
absolutely. And again, going back to that, if your collection isn't that big of a collection, it's exactly right. Put your favorite figure kind of in the foreground of that photograph, and then just sort of use what you have in the background that might not quite fit as well, but just to sort of fill up the space. There's a lot you can do with a smaller collection. So don't be afraid if like this looks like a huge diorama. Just start small. Start anywhere. Just build. You know.
Yeah, and then I think, you know, obviously there are a lot of people out there with bigger part inventories, etc. But maybe you only got one Brickmania Mutt or one Brickmania Bulldog, whatever, and you want more for it. Put the one with the printed elements and all the awesome Brickmania stuff, you know, once again in the foreground, in the center of the MOC. And then if you want extra stuff, you're not going to lose any points because one Mutt has markings and the other one doesn't. You know what I mean? Like that's all stuff that we totally understand and look at and incorporate. And then I think the last thing I want to touch on is, this is a military MOC. Definitely the focus is military, but notice all of the non-military instances in it. And then not only that, but a little bit of the humor with the yellow submarine. No points off for that. I know we talk about historical accuracy, etc., but if you want to add something that's kind of clever, funny, relevant to the time period, something like that in your MOC, we love that kind of stuff. We think it's awesome. So, but just look at the variety of, you know, you have soldiers obviously mixed with civilians. You've got some infamous scenes playing out. I mean, there's a lot going on here. You even have the Beatles up top there. I mean,
that's awesome.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff is really cool, and I think that's when you bring it all together, that's what creates a masterpiece, and something that not only can get you to win in the Brickmania MOC contest, but something you're just proud of to have built and owned. So, yeah, cool MOC.
Absolutely.
Definitely has stood the test of time.
It has. It still is awesome to just. I mean, I'll come back here every once in a while and still just look through and find new things every single time. So it's really stood the test of time.
Indeed, and that's what makes it great. So once again, that sale runs through the end of the month. It is on brick arms, it is on minifig gear, it is on MOC accessories and sticker packs. So we've got 11 days to be able to load up on everything you need to enter your MOC in the MOC contest and get building. So that is that. Remember to use its promo code BUILDIT at checkout to get that discount. Am I forgetting anything?
I think you got it all.
Okay, sweet. We'll see you on Friday.